Good. Good afternoon. It's really lovely to be here with you. You've seen one part of me earlier, but in my life I divide my time into two. One end is being a concert pianist, and I play and record quite a bit. And the other half of my life is dealing with innovation, leadership, decision-making, problem-solving. I'm working with various corporates and organizations, both from my home country, Israel, and abroad. And what I decided to bring today is actually to bring those two worlds together and to speak from a very personal attitude and share with you those insights that I have as a pianist, and the way we think as pianists, the way we practice, the way we go on stage, the way we confront mistakes, the way we overcome failures, to talk about all of those issues in regards to life in general and business in particular. So there is a very famous saying that we listen to 50% of what we've been exposed to, and we remember 50% of what we listen to. So how much are we left with? I see you haven't listened. Okay. So the maximum that we are left is probably 25%. We don't want to admit it, because we all want to believe that we stay with much more. But just the other day I went to a great film by Woody Allen, and my friend said, can you recommend for me a good film to go to? And she's a lawyer, and I said to her, yes, go for this new film by Woody Allen. And I thought this was it. And the second question was, what is it about? And I said, I don't remember what's about. I just remember I had fun. And this is all about what we're going to talk today, because, content, is obvious already. We're not talking about content. We're talking about the other word, which is experience. Everybody can deliver content, but not everybody can deliver and leave behind an experience. And what I'd like to talk about is what are the ingredients of those who leave an experience behind. And I'll show you some examples of great conductors that I believe in, and I will talk from my own life. But my great mentor, Leonard Bernstein, used to say, people will forget what you said or what you did, but they will never forget how you let them feel. And this is so true, So it's all about how we let people feel and how we make a personal stamp and a very strong impact wherever we go. It doesn't matter if it's a party, it's a business meeting, it's a lecture, it's a presentation. And I'm always asking myself, how can I deliver these insights from music to the ordinary lecture room? Because, we don't usually have music notes, as you realize. What happens if you have what? What's the worst thing that can happen to a pianist? What's the word?
Lose all your fingers.
Lose your fingers. Yeah, and lose your head, having a blackout, right? Every pianist in the world had a blackout. I will tell you soon what happened to me at the age of 12. Not something very nice. But before that, I want to have an experiment with all of you. Okay, ready? I'm going to play a piece you all know, the Bach Prelude No. 1, but I'm going to play it in 3 different versions. We'll just take the opening thing, okay? And really, honestly, every one of you will think which of the options he or she loved the most, okay? And then we'll raise our hands. So let's start. This is number 1. Okay, number 2. have some help? Warren, could you take a look and really try to count how many people vote for number 1, please, again? Wonderful. Number 2. That's it. I didn't play it well, probably. Okay. Number 3. All right, you don't have to count. Well, you know, I have to tell you something, I have to confess. If I would play number 3 in an international competition, I would be out of the competition right away. It's beautiful, I love it as well. I love it as well because it's very romantic. It's like in Chopin style. It's so full of emotions. It's very intimate. It's delicate. It's really touching the soul. But if I were to play it in an international competition, they wouldn't even wait until the very end. I'll be kicked out. And why is that? Because I played a Bach piece, which was written in 1732, okay, mid-18th century, and I played it in a very romantic style, with a pedal, with rubato, with legato, different style. Okay, I'm not saying if it's right or wrong, I'm just telling you how in my very rigid classical world it works. I want to tell you that I was educated in a very rigid way. When I was 6, I had this passion to learn piano. My parents never played, and I was very jealous of a very good friend of mine in 1st grade, and she had piano lessons, and I was just asking her, can I sit in your lessons and just listen to the piano while you're practicing, while you study with your teacher? And for about 6 months, I would come twice a week and just listen to her for half an hour. And one day, I was courageous enough, and I went to the teacher and said, could I bring my mother tomorrow? I would very much love to study as well. And she said, yes, bring your mother at 12:30, please. The next day I came back early from school and I called my mother from downstairs and I said, we have to run, we are late to the piano teacher. And my mother said, you don't scream in the street, go upstairs, we'll talk quietly about what you like to say to me. And I said, no, 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 you have to calm down because we are late. And I took her, she didn't have any choice, I took her hand by hand to this local neighborhood piano teacher and I forced her to give me piano lessons. I was never told to practice in my life. It was a very strong passion, and my parents were smart. I don't know if they were harsh or smart, but my mother said, look, we're not going to buy you a piano. If you're very serious about it, go and practice at your friend's place. And we'll see after a couple of months if we can buy you a piano. So for 4 months, I would go every day. I had half an hour between 4 to 4:30 in my friend's parents. And the piano was in the parents' bedroom. And one day, the parents of my friend called my mother and said, listen, you've got to buy a piano now for your daughter, it's enough. So my parents didn't have a choice, they bought me a piano, and you know, it was a very strict way because after 2 years I moved to a very famous piano teacher who said, if you want to study with me, you have to come 3 times a day, 3 times a week. You have to practice 4 hours a day, and the lesson is 3 hours each. So it was Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturdays. At the age of 16, I left Israel and I went to Boston to study my first degree. Then I went to London and I studied next year in the Royal Academy of Music. I did my PhD, and everything looked so beautiful. You know, I was performing worldwide. I had about 100 concerts a year, recordings, playing with the English Chamber Orchestra, BBC Orchestra, everything looks really promising. And I felt very lonely. I felt that something was truly missing. I felt that, you know, people think, oh, what a glamorous work she has, but it's not. It's really not, because you always practice. You go to the best places in the world, but you don't even see them. You know, I went to Argentina, played in Teatro Colón, the best. You know, somebody was in Argentina. Where is James? Yeah, you were there. Teatro Colón, the best performing hall in Buenos Aires, but I never see the city because you go, you practice, you're not allowed to drink alcohol, you have rehearsals, you have to sleep well, you perform, the next day you're going to another city, and I felt, no, I miss the communication. I want to share with my audience what I'm going through. I want to talk about my fears, I want to talk about my problems, I want to talk about being on the roads, I want to talk about my decision making and how I make, you know, music personal, because the exercise we just did is not about music. Don't fool yourself. It's about life. The exercise we just did is about everyone's life. It's about how we take, each one of us, a text, or a title, and make it our own, make it personal. You know, each one of us has a title. We have, some of us are CEOs, some of us are VP R&D, VP HRs. We have so many wonderful titles and wonderful jobs, but how are we going to make the personal stamp, the personal impact? Am I going to play it very slow, like Glenn Gould, without any pedal, very dry, very accurate, very Baroque style, or am I going to make it very smooth, very pianissimo? Or maybe I want to improvise on it and make it different completely. And I can go on. So, how can I make a difference? Well, we'll get into it soon. You know, people say to me, listen, I'm not a musician, so don't talk to me like a musician. I'm saying we are all musicians. We always make music. We talk in a certain voice, we shout, we tempt in our voice, we make love with our voice, we really use our voice to get what we want. We are trained to use our voice, we just don't know it. And Arthur Rubinstein, the greatest pianist of the 20th century, used to say, music is not the notes, it's the space you take between the notes. And this is so true. And I want to show you what he meant, okay? I will play you a Chopin nocturne, because he was the greatest Chopin player, I think, of all times. And I will play the text just as it is, and I'm sure you will stop me very quickly. It sounds like this. That's how it's written. That's the text. Now, it's boring. It's annoying. It's like my neighbor practicing. But I want to make it different. I want to make it with love, you know. So what did I do differently? It's really, I'm really interested to know if you saw what I did, if you know my tricks.
I saw the movement in your face and the expression in your face.
That's true. You know what my teacher would say? That's not good. You should be face blank. You should not show your wishes in your face. We would used to practice with mirrors in front of ourselves, and my teacher used to video me, and then she would show me how I look like, and it was very embarrassing. But what else did I do?
Body movement. It's the body movement.
Yeah, very long body movements. Yeah, one with the piano. Like regard the instrument as one with your body. What else?
You express your emotion.
You let the audience. You told us so we believe you.
Yeah, you think I misled you all? That would be nice. That would be really an insult for me. But okay, we'll have more. Did you see I used the pedal? Yeah, we have someone there.
You gave it colour, image, and tone.
Color, tone, beautiful words. Beautiful words, yes please.
You changed the tempo with phrase.
Great! I was going to hear this sentence, wonderful. I changed the tempo. Tempo is actually, in Italian, to steal. Actually, rubato is in Italian, to steal. And what we do with the tempo is meaning that I'm not playing just strictly. I'm playing off the rhythm, off the tempo, and I'm bringing slow, and I'm slowing down and speeding up into the movement. Let me show you again. Instead of doing, I do. Take much more time between the notes, just as Rubinstein said. It's very difficult, because if I do too much, it's really fake. And you know, just a good friend of mine who I'm playing with tomorrow in Israel, he said to me something very beautiful. He said, you know, the Facebook is the place where everybody's beautiful, everybody's perfect, and everybody's abroad. And you know, it's exactly like Chopin. If you do too much, you're faking it. It's not real. It's not your real emotion. You're just doing it sporadically. But you have to be one with the instrument, and you have to let the audience share your very inner emotions. This is very difficult. Most people don't like to share their inner emotion in front of everyone. But it's so powerful. It's risk-taking, but it's so powerful. And it's such a great opportunity. And it's not about music. You know, everyone is standing in front of an audience. And the first question I always ask when I, work with managers in companies, and I don't have a piano there, of course, and I said, can you give your presentation without your PowerPoint? If there is no electricity, can you still deliver your message? Can you deliver a message without your tools? Can I deliver my message without the music? You know, it reminds me of a story I wasn't going to tell you, but I have to share it with you because I just realized. About 6 months ago, I go to a concert in the north of Israel, and I see this beautiful Steinway in front of me, and I'm so excited. And I came about an hour and a half before the concert starts. I opened the piano, it was closed. Nobody was there, just the stage crew. And I'm shocked. I'm shocked because this beautiful, long, expensive Steinway lacked C sharp. No C sharp. And this black key, which is so essential for me because my piece is exactly on C sharp major, was here. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I'm not going to play a concert without C sharp. And it just reminded me, we all talk about improvisation, we talk about how can you make I teach about it, can I make my presentation without all the tools? Here I am in the real exam of my life. So I called the stage crew and I said, can you help me? What's your name? And he said, my name is Dan. And I said, Dan, listen, you've got to call a piano tuner to fix it because the concert starts in an hour and a half and we have to do something. He looks at me and said, what's your name? I said, Orit. He said, listen, no piano tuners here in the north, okay? Maybe you come from Tel Aviv, there are piano tuners here, nobody comes, only tomorrow. And then I said, look, I cannot make the concert, I cannot make it happen. I was like, how can you do a concert without C sharp? So he said to me, look, Orit, how many keys you have here? 100, one less, who cares? I swear to God it happened. So I looked at him, I said, Nanny, okay, I got you. You bring some tape, don't tell anyone, we tape it, we don't tell anyone, okay? And that's what we did. And nobody knows I did it, but it actually still there, sticks with the wrong tape. And I did a concert. Those things happen all the time. Even in the best halls, sometimes the pedal doesn't work. Sometimes you don't see anyone because the light is so strong and so many things can happen to you. And the question is really how you go on. And what happened to me when I was 12 was the worst thing that can happen to a pianist. But before that, let's just watch a very short film. We'll stop it in the middle when I will ask Claire and Pete to help me. Let's hear a concert that was held in London 2 years ago in a church. And something wrong is happening during the concert. Let's see how the violinist will cope with it. Example. It's so real. Not many violinists would do such a thing. He had this strong improvisation quality and tool to just laugh at it and make it as a humorous and unforgettable concert. Because most violinists would probably look at the one who is phone rang and just stare at him and give him bad feeling. I was in a concert Barenboim was playing in the Man Auditorium in Tel Aviv, and there were so many phone calls, and then he just stood up, closed the piano, and left. And people were shocked, you know, we paid the concert, we wanted to come to hear him. He left. He left the stage. Well, he can afford to do it. And I promised to tell you what happened to me when I was 12. When I was 12, I had a live recording to the radio in Israel, and it was held in a beautiful hall by YMCA in Jerusalem, about 1,000 people, and it's also live. And I was playing a Haydn sonata, and after 12 minutes, the worst came, and I just forgot the music. So I had a blackout, and I stopped. And I was told you can never stop, you just have to go on somehow. But you know what? I stopped, and everybody could feel it. And I didn't know what to do with myself. And then I started the movement again. It was terrible. It was really, really terrible. And after this concert, which was really traumatic for me, I realized that nobody taught me what to do when the mistakes come. Everybody taught me how to make, playing perfectly, but nobody told me what to do when actually the mistakes occur. How to turn them into opportunities, how to go on. And then I realized that if I want to be on stage, the idea is not to practice more. The idea is to have the tool to improvise whenever you are, and be able to have a protection that you will within yourself, that no matter what happens, you have the protection. And then I changed really my life, because instead of being in this route, of practicing 8 hours a day and being on this one-way station route, I realized, no. I don't want to be like this, because I want to tell you that many of my colleagues and friends, when they're young and they won all those beautiful competitions, they are in mental hospitals. Some of them, seriously, it's not a joke. Some are in mental hospitals because they couldn't take the success, or they couldn't cope with the failures. So failures is something that I dedicate my life to it. I really dedicate my life to mistakes and failures. And I wanted to share with you, an exercise that you can do with your friends or employees when you go home. It's very simple and it's very striking. I ask people to take a piece of paper. We'll not have time to do it right now because I'm limited by time, but I want to share with you so you can go ahead and do it later. You take a piece of paper and I will ask people to write what I'm saying with intentional spelling mistakes. Intentional spelling mistakes. And I will speak very fast, and then I'll say stop, and I will ask people 2 things. 1, count how many words you have on the page, and 2, can you see how many mistakes, spelling mistakes you actually have? And count those 2 numbers and let me know what they are. And what you learn from it, before I tell you, what do you think why is it good for? Why am I doing such an exercise? What does it do to your brain? Where is Jackie? She's gone. You're here. What does it do to your brain when you're entitled or forced, let's say the word is forced, to write with spelling mistakes in stressful time, because you don't have the whole time in the world to do it. You're under stress, under pressure. What happens in the mind? What do you think people did? They what? Relaxed. In terms of, can you go on and tell me, what do you think the results were? I wish.
I said he got it all right.
Good. Who said that? Good. Yeah. You know what? Usually the results are 50 words and 2 mistakes. And I'm thinking to myself, you give people the legitimacy to make mistakes, to get out of their comfort zones, to be creative, to be crazy, to be stupid. And they are so afraid. All of us were very afraid to go out of the lines. The people who did, let's say, 20 words and 40 mistakes are the most fascinating ones for me. The people who decided to write less, but to do more mistakes. Now, what kind of mistakes you're doing is also a science in itself. How far you can get your creativity go? Do you just take the O and change it to E, or do you take the O and change it to L, which is not connected completely? So there's so many circles of creativity and innovation. I want to show you how it goes in the piano, okay? I'll take a very famous Beethoven piece. You know this one? It's a Beethoven sonata, the Pathétique. It's the second movement. Very beautiful melody and theme. And now I'll start improvising on it, okay? I don't know what will happen. Okay, this is the thing. Now maybe I'll do this. Or maybe I'll do this. Or maybe I'll do this. This one I like. Oh. Okay. I want to show you another film by Bobby McFerrin, who works with the Israel Philharmonic, and he asked them to get out of their comfort zone. And let's see what he's asking them to do. Let's watch Bobby. Okay, thank you. They will never forget this rehearsal. It's a good one. I actually, a couple of my good friends here, so they were face reaction. It's lovely. So it's actually taking them out of the comfort zone. And I want to tell you another story that I've just, I didn't know. I have a very good friend who is one of the major figures in the advertisement companies in Israel. And he once told me that years ago he only studied a very simple and fast course of copywriting. And he wanted to work in this field so badly. He has this passion to do it. And he saw an ad, it was 25 years ago. He saw this ad saying, "We're looking for a creative director." And he decided he must go and get the job. But he was so far away from the skills needed. He was not qualified for this. He only took a course of 3 months. How can he be so fresh to think that he could get into the job? So he did something exactly what they asked. They asked for his CV, and he did send his CV, but in a different way. Do you have any idea what he could have done? How did he send his CV?
He made an advert.
Sorry?
He made an advert.
He made?
He made an advertisement.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a beautiful one, to make an advertisement. Wonderful. The absurd way. Fantastic. Who else? Great. Any other thing? That's great. What he did, he called the minicab company. And he said, be here in 15 minutes, please. And he sent the CV in an envelope, and he sent it with a chair from home. And with the chair, he physically brought downstairs the chair and put the envelope on the chair. And he said, I'd love to get your job. If I'll have it, you won't even have to arrange a chair for me. I brought it from home. Needless to say, he got a job. He didn't get that job. He wasn't qualified enough for that job, but he got a job in that company. And you know, the history is well known because he became number 2 in the company, and now he opened his own, and you know, the rest is history. So I love this story because he was courageous enough and passionate enough to go with his vision, to go with his dream, to go beyond expectations. And you know, why am I telling you this? Because so many times, you know, we are asked to write our CV or to send our CVs, and they all look beautiful and perfect and amazing. And you know, I myself won quite a bit of international competitions, but I always say to my students and my employees, I said to them, if I were to write my CV of failures, it would be so much longer. Because the amount of competitions I did not win is so much longer. The amount of times I went for the Far East and the Canadas and places you don't even know, it's so far away, and I was kicked out so fast is endless. It's endless. And you have to be, the word is obsession. You have to be obsessive to want something so badly because normal people don't play. Normal people don't choose this profession because it's all about risk. You can be so well prepared and come on stage, it doesn't work. You can be so good, you can go to a competition and you just fail, and the next day you do another competition and you win. And you play the same pieces. So the word obsession, I think, is very much close to my heart, not in its negative sense, but in its positive sense. In the fact that, you know, you have to be passionate and courageous and really stick to your vision in order to pursue it. And I will soon show you another video that I really love that shows a very passionate conductor called Gustavo Dudamel. Have you heard the name? From Venezuela, Gustavo Dudamel. And he had a vision to bring classical music into the mass, into the young generation, in a very passionate and creative way, and not to follow the rules of classical music where you have to be very quiet. And imagine if you clap between movements. You know this one? If you clap between movements, people look at you like, well, you don't know the rules here. You know this? Have you ever sat in the Philharmonic? Imagine yourself clapping in the wrong time. It's difficult. And he just really ruins those rules, and it's beautiful. Let's just watch it for a second. Dudamel, Mambo. it? Yeah. Really? It's good. It's good. It's good. It's really a passionate concert. It just reminded me that, just 2 hours ago, I got a call. I got a call from Israel, from a woman said, "You don't know me. I'm Lady such and such, and I'd like to invite you to give a private concert." So I said, "I'm sorry, but I'm not giving private concerts any longer. I'm only performing, on stages." And she said, "Well, I pay well, so will you be able to consider it still?" And I said, "How much you pay?" And then she said, "How much it cost?" And I said, "Okay, that's how she's playing with me. I'll play the game, no problem." And I told her the number, and then there was a big silence. And then she said, "Okay, I understand. I want half a concert." I swear. Needless to say, the price is the same. She just forgot that it's half an hour plus 30 years of work, maybe more. So those things happen to us all the time because, my teacher used to say to me, one day you don't practice, you will feel it. 2 days you don't practice, I will feel it. 3 days you don't practice, your audience will feel it. And it's so true because there's so much work and sports behind this profession, and it's still such unsafe profession to choose. And before we end, because I have really a couple of last minute, 4 minutes, and I want to play for you one nocturne by Chopin before I conclude my part, and we'll go for a break, and we'll tell you soon. I want to share with you a very intimate story. I don't usually tell it, but because it's London, I have to. When I studied at the Royal Academy in the 90s, I had the best time of my life. But I didn't have any money. And I remember we really lived on, I don't know, 100 pounds a week. And one of my best friends in school was Tamami Honma, a very famous Japanese pianist. She's now living in the States. And she became world classical pianist, having about 19 different albums in Deutsche Grammophon, really famous, big name. And she taught me a really big lesson on dreams. And I think, we talked about passion, we talked about courage, we talked about obsession. The last word is dreams, to have the dream of your life. And we would play many, many hours at the Royal Academy, but the only day the Academy was closed then was Sundays. So we would meet at 12 o'clock in Piccadilly Circus, and we had our tour and our Chinatown meal, and then we would go, and she would take me to all those stores in Old Bond Street and New Bond Street, those stores. That you have to press a button in order for them to even open to the door. And she would try those beautiful dresses for performances. She would try beautiful jewelry. And I would just stand there and decide, I'm not understanding how can she do it, because she didn't have the money for it. And one day I asked her, "Tamami, why do you do this? We don't have the money for it." Then she looked at me and she said one sentence. She said, "When you'll have the money, you'll know where to go and what to buy." Years later, Tamami became very rich. She married a rich husband. But, needless to say, she's a great pianist on her own. And she is not forgetting her little friend Israel, and she keeps sending me things from this street. So it's not a lesson that we should all remember. It's not a materialistic lesson I'm trying to say. It's more about her dream, that she wanted something, and she got it. She had the dream to be a famous concert pianist, and she got it. And I think it started with a fantasy, because people said to me, "We have a dream." I honestly will tell you, I don't think many people have dreams. I think most people live in a daydream. I think people have the possibility to dream, but they don't have time for dreams. They think they're overqualified for it. They think that there is no time. We have urgent and important things to do at work and at home. And enough with the dreams. I'm over this age. And I was thinking, have a fantasy a day. Have one fantasy a day. And I was very connected because Anami put beautiful sentences as carpets in the bar beach, and I really thought this is so special, and really you did a beautiful work here to make us feel so, not just talk about creativity, innovation, but feel that the environment is surrounding us with this passionate feeling. And one of the sentences said, have a fantasy a day, because without a fantasy, nobody's doing fantastic things. So I want to thank you very, very much. It was just a glimpse of some insight and some thoughts from the piano. And I wish that we all take risks, because the risky thing in life is not to take risks. And I want to conclude with a nocturne by Chopin. And could we ask Pete just to have complete darkness, just some light on the piano? Thank you.